one of the biggest things and one of the biggest questions that I get is around growing an audience, building your brand, becoming known for something, and how to do all of those things in the easiest way. Now, like anything, it's a relationship and it takes time. But there is one thing that you should be doing if you want to build that relationship more quickly and more effortlessly. And that's marketing with people rather than at people. So what I mean by this is involving them in the process, because what we often see online is a lot of messages kind of being thrown at us, a lot of, you know, buy me now, just marketing at people, shouting at people through the noise. And the easiest way to get around this is by doing two things. First of all is to show empathy, to show that you understand your audience and what they want. And the second is to make that relationship interactive. Because as humans, we want connection and we want to feel understood. And when we feel understood and when we feel like we're connecting with somebody, the relationship develops, trust develops, and then we become loyal to a brand. And once we have that loyalty, then we're more likely to buy from that brand and, you know, go and refer other people. So the easiest ways to do this, I have found, is obviously to give people something to talk about. Because when you just give them information and there's nothing for them to talk about, there's no kind of easy way for them to want to share that or to engage with that or to have anything to talk about, then it's really difficult. It might be a great piece of information, it might help them with their business, but there's nothing for them to talk about. So one of the ways that I really like to do this is through, and I've used it in my business really successfully, is by building a quiz. So when I started out in my business, I really wanted to understand my audience more. So I was finding when I was in Facebook groups, when I was emailing, that people had, you know, the same kind of problems that were coming up. They were really, you know, struggling to identify their unique brand personality, their brand voice, and craft that into a message that made them different. So listening to that, I created, my initial quiz was my brand archetype quiz, and I've just relaunched your brand power persona quiz, which is on my website at the moment. And it gave me a way to understand my audience. So I set up the quiz in a way that they answered certain questions and they understood themselves in their brand, and it also gave me insight into them. So then I could segment my audience and say, hey, you've put your hand up and shown me that these are the things that you're struggling with, and this is your brand personality, and this is where you want to go. You might find this information more relevant. So it was a two-way relationship. They got something that they wanted to share because they were like, hey, this is my brand personality. I'm going to share that with other people and ask them what theirs is. So it gave that point of interaction straight away. And it also gave me insight into understanding them and then being able to create with what they needed in mind rather than me second guessing. And I also launched this year, I did a brand strength quiz, and that was really interesting as well, because I was able to then look at my audience and say, what stage are they at in growing their brand? So were they in that first 1 to 3 years where they were struggling to identify their audience and their message? Were they in that 3 to 5 years where they had that, but they wanted to grow and scale? So therefore I knew I've got these 2 to 3 different segments of my audience, all with slightly different problems. Therefore, I'm not going to just shout at them with the same thing when I email. I'm going to email them thinking about the problem and the stage that they're at in their business and tailor solutions to them. Because we all want things to feel personal. We want someone to have a solution to our specific problem, not a big generic problem, but a specific problem. So next Monday, I'm running a masterclass. It's a free masterclass, and I'm going to talk through the strategy of putting my quiz together, which not only helped me understand my audience, but helped me grow my audience in 3 weeks by about 1,500 subscribers, which is fantastic. But also subscribers that were the right people on my email list, the kind of people that wanted to hear from me, the kind of people that wanted what I had to offer, and therefore we had that relationship. So I wasn't, putting out a free PDF and just getting lots of dead wood onto my email list who were then unsubscribing and deleting the PDF, never to be read. I gave them insight into their brand, and they gave me insight into them. So it became this beautiful, holistic relationship. So I'm going to take you through how to identify your big idea and what you should form your quiz around, how to create your quiz and create headlines that capture, the kind of software that I've used for my quiz that has been super, super easy to use and implement on any system, and also really reliable and really cheap, no tech skills needed. And then I'm also going to have a live Q&A at the end. Hi Tiana, how are you? A live Q&A at the end answering questions about how I use this. So I think it's a really, really valuable way to understand your audience, to reach them, and to market with them, not at them. So if you want to come along, the link will be above this video. If you're catching the replay, just scroll around somewhere and you will find it. And if you know anyone that this could be valuable to, please share it far and wide.